Years of industry-leading service for fence, deck, and leisure space solutions. Visit stlfenceworks.com.
Oh, give me land, lots of land, and the starry skies above. Don't fence me in. Let me ride through the wide open country that I love. Don't fence me in. Let me be by myself in the evening breeze. Listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Send me off forever, but I ask you please. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in. Just turn me loose, let me straddle my own saddle underneath the western skies. On my cayuse, let me wander over yonder till I see the mountains rise. I want to ride to the ridge where the west commences. Gaze at the moon until I lose my senses. I can't look at hobbles and I can't stand fences. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and happy Tuesday to all of you and yours. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here. Super psyched to be with you. Ashton over there, and yeah, it's election day, and I think I'm going to reopen my pool. All these people who are so excited about your sweaters and your pumpkin lattes and all that stuff, and now it's 70 degrees. Yeah, that's what I love about St. Louis. And then what's going to happen is December's not going to be much different. I know that for a fact because when I put all my Christmas decorations up and everything else, oftentimes it becomes kind of, I do it like on a day like today. So it's great. Although then we get into that whole thing where we go then to January and February. It's supposed to be like a really wicked winter again, but man, falls here in St. Louis are so unpredictable. And, you know, it's kind of like back in the day when people were, when it was September, but it was 90 and people kept on wearing their sweaters because they're like, well, it's fall, so I'm going to wear my sweater anyway. It's like they're sweating to death out there. Oh, my kind of weather. All right, ladies and gentlemen, election day. And so we've got a situation where New York, it's interesting with Mamdani. And as you know, I really don't want Cuomo to win. Curtis Lewa used to be on the Allman in the Morning show way back 20 years ago, back in the day. In fact, I can't find it though anywhere. I know it's somewhere. I still have the red beret that he gave me. So that was when he was back with the Guardian Angels and all that kind of stuff. And he's a good guy. But I happen to think to a certain degree, because I was going through some stuff that was on the internet from the debates and things like that. And I'm recognizing something about what has happened in terms of the coverage of this race. And I think I'm learning that a lot of the coverage of the race, I mean, even Fox News didn't really cover some of the criticism of Mamdani that was out there, that was like real legit criticism that even came from the debates and things like that. And so I finally realized that and this always happens with Democrat politicians. It happened with Obama. It happened with Kamala Harris. And that is, they are propped up by the news media, a news media that doesn't bother really to address any criticism of them and really only focuses on advancing them and as a commodity, as a a star, as a novelty or whatever. And it does a disservice not only to the voters, but it also does a disservice to a certain degree to the candidates. At this stage in the game, I'm telling you, if Mamdani should happen to lose, these Muslim crazies and all the others, they'll riot in the streets. If Mamdani happens to lose this race, they will go ape in New York. They'll light things on fire. And so there is a possibility he will lose. I'm just not quite sure of it, but don't disregard this idea that some of the toughest criticism of him really never made it out of the debate stage. Some of it's running around there. I picked up this. I mean, Cuomo, again, I'm not a real fan of, because Cuomo will just simply use the New York thing as a means of a bully pulpit to go after Donald Trump. That's what he will do. The same thing he did during the during the whole COVID thing. So and plus, I think he's a dirty, rotten Goomba and a rapey, misogynistic-y, just kind of a gross dude. But nonetheless, he did make some good points in the debate. And this was very interesting because I guarantee you probably have not seen a whole lot of this. In fact, for the most part, you probably just have seen all the Mamdani love. But you never really saw much in the way of criticism of him. And Cuomo had some pretty good stuff.
I understand my friend doesn't really understand government. The governor doesn't build housing in New York City.
Not if it's you.
No, legally, there are jurisdictions. The governor doesn't pick up trash. He doesn't run the fire department. That's what the mayor does. The mayor builds housing. The state allocates funding for localities. And I allocated more funding for housing than any governor in the history of the state of New York. All right, I did things. You have never had a job. You've never accomplished anything. There's no reason to believe you have any merit or qualification for 8.5 million lives. You don't know how to run a government. You don't know how to handle an emergency. And you've literally never proposed a bill on anything that you're not talking about in your campaign. You had the worst attendance record in the assembly, and you gave yourselves the highest raise in the United States of America. You went from $110,000 to $140,000, and then you never showed up for work, and you missed 80% of the votes. Shame on you. Shame on you.
Yeah, have you heard that before? That doesn't get out a whole lot, does it now? That Mamdani really has never had a job. It's kind of like Barack Obama. They do this with these guys. It's always, so Special Olympic-y for these people. The guy's never had a job, except that, of course, when he was elected to the assembly, which I guess you could call it a job. And then he missed 84% of the votes. Yeah, Julie, you nailed it. It's just like Obama on steroids. He missed 84% of his votes. 84%. I mean, how many of you, maybe you guys have known that, but how many people, across the United States know that? I bet you hardly anybody. I'm not even quite sure Fox News has done a deep dive on, except for the evening guys. But again, this is what happens. It happened to Kamala. How many people were, even some of you guys, not you, but, some of the people were thinking that Kamala was going to win. Why? Because everybody told you she was going to win. Because the news media told you she was special and all this other stuff. And never really talked about the fact that the girl is just dumb and unaccomplished and all those things. But that was a pretty savage takedown. As much as I dislike Cuomo, that was a pretty savage takedown on the part of Cuomo that had substance to it. That was pretty rough, and deservedly so. again, I'm not saying Mamdani's going to lose. I'm just saying don't be surprised if he does. I'm just because this whole thing is built on this kind of charade and movement and whatever, and he's marching around with a bunch of people with turbans on behind him, and all these people, and he's like the Pippi Longstocking of socialism, But don't forget there are other New Yorkers out there, and if they get this sense that this is really going to happen, they could flock to the polls, and we'll see. Sliwa was tough too. And again, how many of you have heard the criticism from these guys? I mean, obviously, I've seen some of the news conferences that these 24-hour cable people play when like Sliwa's out there or whatever. But this stuff rarely makes it to the CBS News level or even the MSNBC News level. So you've got a bunch of candidates who basically are just kind of propped up, and you just never know. Because when you hear these guys talk, I'm like, what New Yorker could possibly not absorb what Cuomo was saying about how Mamdani is? It's not just that he's a socialist. He's an unaccomplished, do-nothing trust fund kid who's a spoiled, rotten brat, and he's done nothing in his life except get elected to the assembly. Then when he got there, he didn't even show up 84% of the time. So, yeah, I mean, it's high time that the New Yorkers, maybe come to the fore here and figure this out. Sliwa and Cuomo at one point double-teamed Mamdani.
Protect the Christopher Columbus statues that exist here in the city?
I'm telling you, my focus is on affordability. I'm not thinking about
Well, you're not answering the question.
Yeah,
Thank you.
He
You're
gave,
not answering
he
the question.
gave the finger to the Columbus Day
That
statue.
issue's come up.
That's what we
earlier
call
in
it,
the debate. All right,
disgraziado.
Listen, we're in the last couple of minutes, and we
You know
thought
what
we'd
that
have
means?
Yeah, as Cuomo pointed out, he gave the finger to the Columbus statue. You think is there any possibility that there could be anybody of Italian descent in New York, and there are a lot of them, who'd vote for Mamdani after all that? I mean, seriously. So keep in mind, it just kind of really depends on how many people show up, who is turning out, and I do not think that a Mamdani loss cannot happen, because at the last minute, some people can finally say, I don't think I can do this. And some of this stuff has sat with them. And again, the only thing I fear is if Mamdani does lose, these people will just, it'll be Black Lives Matter riots all over again. And you've already seen how Mamdani has basically said, if you don't vote for me, you're Islamophobic. So this has all the makings of a shocker. I just don't know. I trust New Yorkers because I think New Yorkers are a lot stronger than people give them credit for. And the news media essentially just kind of like narrowed the bubble. And it's become just a soundstage for Mamdani. And they could wake up tomorrow morning with their faces ashen colored. Now, keep in mind, too, there's a lot of wishful thinking. This one, Harry Enton knows better. I'm a little surprised, Neil Sedaka's son-in-law. He knows better, but he decided that he was going to say that the Democrats winning in blue states are going to be a bellwether for the midterms in the House next year.
I mean, the common denominator here is Donald Trump, and Democrats are on the precipice of delivering a huge blow to Donald Trump in his second term. What are we talking about here? Well, why don't we just look? Democrats lead all the key races. You go to New Jersey governor. That's really the only close one. Mikey Sherrill, the Democrat, up by 6 points. Abigail Spanberger in Virginia, up by 10. And Zohran Mamdani up by 16 points in New York City. The bottom line is this. Yes, there are ideological differences between the Democrats, but the key common component is they are all going after Donald Trump. And all the Democrats lead from New Jersey to Virginia to New York City. They all lead the Republican and independent opponents.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem with all that. So he's basically maintaining that a historic sweep of New York City, New Jersey, and Virginia means that Dems win the House next year. But this is the problem. Although Mamdani won't be a bellwether at all, I don't know how he sees it as a bellwether. But the reality is no Republican has won a statewide race in New York in 20 years. Same way with New Jersey or the New York City mayor's race since 2013. So all this stuff that he's talking about, yeah, they're going to do pretty well in today's elections, but they're doing well in blue states. Harry, that's not a bellwether, buddy.
Found a ghost in the city lights, where all my wrongs have turned right.
All right, coming up, we're going to check in with young Caroline, who is giving an update at the White House. We'll make sure we rock it for you if anything comes up of import. Also, ladies and gentlemen, coming up, we've got great Becky Noble coming in to give us her thoughts on what has been happening. Also, Whoopi Goldberg has a temper tantrum on the View because she can't lie anymore. It's pretty funny. And this is the 3 Martini Lunch. It's Common Sense Radio, the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
I really like all the things you're saying.
News, analysis, opinion.
Thank you very, very much.
News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, O'Fallon Family Floors, and, what a great idea that you might be able to pull off for the holidays. And how about the gift of home improvement? How about, maybe for the guys, maybe it's that beautiful kitchen floor for your wife that she's wanted. You guys haven't really done much to it. You're thinking, you know what? Let's go ahead and throw down for the Christmas holidays for a brand new kitchen floor. Or for the gals, maybe your guy's man cave or whatever you want to call it, bar area, whatever, needs a new floor, new look to it, whatever. There's another great gift idea. And Brian Amon and the rest of the gang at O'Fallon Family Floors will make it happen for you at a fabulous price. Get it done fast. I, in fact, just checked in with one of my clients, Susan, who I moved into a home in South County, and Brian did her entire flooring there. Beat all the competitors and their bids and all that kind of stuff, and then had it installed lickety-splickety. It was beautiful. He's got the most variety you're going to find anywhere in the land. And I'm talking about the most variety you're going to find anywhere in the land. I kid you not. More than Home Depot, more than Lowe's, more than any other place with flooring. He's got them beat by miles. Pricing-wise, he's got them beat by miles. Installation and the kind of personal service, he's got them beat by miles. So all you have to do, it's right there off of Highway K in O'Fallon. O'FallonFamilyFloors.com. That's O'FallonFamilyFloors.com.
Dr. Draghi and his team at Esquire Sports Medicine get pros back on the field, so they can certainly help you. You need an MRI, X-ray, CAT scan, pre- or post-surgery treatment, rehab. The chiropractic physicians at Esquire can help you or connect you to experts you need. And I know you're hurting right now. You don't want to wait. Esquire sees new patients often within 24 hours. EsquireSportsMedicine.com.
Kathy Connor from Connor Roofing is here. Kathy, how you doing?
Good. Hi, Vic.
You know, when you need a roof, I don't want to call a stranger. I want to call you.
Yeah, thanks. At Connor Roofing, we're more than just a roofing company.
How long you been doing it?
Since 1993.
And year after year, storm after storm, you guys are always there.
Because this is our home too, Vic. Our kids go to school with your kids. We cheer for the same teams. Go Blues!
So support your neighbors. Call Connor Roofing at 314-375-7475 or CONNER roofing.com.
Thanks, Vic.
Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too. Until I called STL Windows and Doors. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or stlwindowsanddoors.com.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
Thanks for taking my call.
Right here.
You know what's going on? Have a great awakening. You see through the smoke screen.
It's cool to be woke. News Talk STL.
Until it's not.
News, analysis, opinion.
The road is pulling me into an open well, and for a moment I escape and I forget. The silhouettes behind the dust clouds call me friend, but even fools know here they're far and few between. She is a bed the neon highways and there's a place of lonely creatures singing.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here, super happy to be with you. It's the 3 martini lunch on this 70-degree day. Lots of people going outside and enjoying the scenery. I'm going to take advantage of the weather today, and later on I'm going to go and take out my rosemary and snip the thyme, gather up the mint, leave the asparagus there because it's got to go through the winter time. The thyme will too. Put the rest of my basil up. Pick some green tomatoes that are not going to get red, but they're still going to be good for... Yeah, Julie's eating her ham sandwich at the park. That's so sweet, though, you know? People who do that, I always think that's sweet. Sitting on a bench by themselves in the beautiful weather and eating a sandwich that they packed at home. Aw. That's super sweet. I don't think people take a time like that these days. But yeah, I'm going to grab those green tomatoes so I can make some fried green tomatoes. Then I'm going to grab the rest of the Carolina Reaper peppers. My Tabasco peppers, some of them aren't ever going to get red, so I was encouraged at some point to go ahead and take those out, and I'll put them up in vinegar, olive oil, and make little hot sauces for people for Christmas, I guess. There are a lot of them, though. There are hundreds of these things. They were loving life this year. So that's going to be that. I think tomorrow should be nice, too. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are monitoring. There was a flight evacuation at Reagan. We don't know really what that's about. Young Caroline is giving her update, basically just kind of doing her President Trump accomplishment so far. And we Newsmax just spelled violence, VIOLANCE. And then we've got apparently the voter turnout in. Okay, Julie, you'll get some. apparently the voter turnout in New York is monster. And as I told you before, a monster voter turnout in New York does not bode well for Mamdani. I'm just saying. And again, I'll probably be wrong by tomorrow. I'm just saying that as we talk about all this, do not please leave open the possibility he could lose this race. And I laid it out for you, some of these criticisms that really fell pretty deep. And maybe CBS News didn't play them or NBC or what have you, but New Yorkers heard them when they watched the debate. So this bubble that Mamdani is living in, again, as kind of the socialist Pippi Longstocking, is very, very fragile. That's my view of it. And it looks like voter turnout in New York City is monster. So we'll see. And Mamdani loses this, Trump will have to call out the National Guard to New York. Believe me. That's how bent over these whack job left-wing crazies have everybody, with their threats and all that stuff and their Islamophobia nonsense and everything else. So we'll see. It'll be a very interesting next 24 hours. But I guarantee if Mamdani does lose, you'll be to blame. I'm just telling you, I don't care where you are, you will be to blame if you happen to be white or any other ethnicity other than Arab or what have you. So we'll see how it goes. I want to check in with Becky Noble, who is one of our Red State writers, amazing Red State writer, also has a blog and a Substack. Gumshoe Politics is one of her specialties as well. And Becky Noble, how you doing?
I'm good, Jamie. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. What are you thinking about as you are observing the day?
Well, it had not occurred to me, but I do think you're right about Mamdani supporters. If he loses, I think it's going to be a bad scene. And I'm hoping that New Yorkers did see that debate. I had not heard that clip either of Andrew Cuomo. And man, oh man, did he nail it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he illustrated exactly who Zoran Mamdani is. He's this trust fund kid who's never had a real job. And even when he got a real job, like being in the New York Assembly, that even when he got it, he never showed up for it.
Yeah.
So
84% of the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, how do you and I get a real job and not show up 84% of the time?
No,
I don't think so.
No.
I mean,
there's no way. I mean, obviously, the only guy who I think would be fun to watch would be Sliwa, but because Cuomo, let's face it, isn't much better. But the reality is, for the purpose of what I was saying at the very, very beginning of the show, a lot of these Cuomo criticisms, he's right about it. He's right about this. So about Mamdani. So
yeah, he is. He is. And my thing too is, well, a couple things is that it's all younger people who are supporting Mamdani because when you're 20 something and you're poor and broke, a guy coming along saying, "Hey, I'm going to give you a bunch of free stuff," and the problem with that is that those young people think, "Hey, free stuff, cool, I'm going to vote for this guy," because part of the problem is the education system. We're probably on a second generation of young people who've just not been taught what socialism and communism is. They think it's all kittens and sunshine and everybody gets what they need and what they want and everything's great and everyone lives happily ever after. And they have no idea what it actually is.
Yeah.
And
also, Becky, don't forget though, and I'm not disagreeing with you about that. I'm just trying to find, my daughter and my brother both live in New York. I've been to New York a ton of times. And the New York that I'm seeing through the lens of the Mamdani love isn't the New York that I really actually know. I'm not saying that it hasn't changed. I'm not, I was there 10 years ago and bumped into Tony Bennett, for crying out loud. That's the New York that I know. And
cool.
but yeah, I know it was cool. And keep in mind, there are a lot of young people also, though. If you look at the ethnic neighborhoods there, especially the Italian neighborhoods, you have the Asian neighborhoods, you have the Eastern European neighborhoods, you have the Hispanic neighborhoods, and even for that matter, in some cases you do have the Muslim neighborhoods. Not all Muslims are for Mamdani, by the way. So
Right.
all those people have the bodegas and the stores and everything else, and young people work at those stores. Like they're family members of the people who own those stores.
Mhm.
So I happen to think that I'm going to narrow his appeal even more. I happen to think Mamdani, yeah, he's popular with the collegey students or the university types or the young kind of hipsters in Soho or what have you. But I don't know whether that even is a deep support, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing I think too is that, let's say, just for the sake of discussion, that Mamdani wins and Jack Ciattarelli wins in New Jersey. I'm going to say, look, maybe as far as a year and a half out from now. And the contrast between New York City and New Jersey is going to be, I think, so stark, because I don't think if he does win, if Mamdani does win, I don't think it's going to take him long to further screw up the city. I think Bill de Blasio kind of gave him a head start with that. But I think if those two things happen, if those two things come to pass, you are going to see such a stark distinction between New York City and New Jersey. And I think maybe a lot of people in New York will start moving to those areas in New Jersey that are adjacent to New York, because there's going to be lower taxes and the cost of living may be a little bit lower. So yeah, you're right. It's going to be a really interesting 24 hours to see what happens.
Yeah, I will be, if Ciattarelli wins, I will be surprised. Although I will tell you that you never know in the land of Trump and in this new kind of American generational enlightenment, whether New Jersey may in fact go back to the old days where they, and I'm talking about 30 years where they had a Republican governor.
Right.
And the last one they had is a reckless left-wing kook. And New Jersey taxes are intolerable. I still think you can't even pump your own gas in New Jersey still. It's just as because my mom lived up there for 30 years or more, almost 40. And I know that place, and I forgot her name, the governor, who was not a big fan of Trump, but she was she was a good one, a good governor then. But man, who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting 24 hours, and it's like for political nerds like us, it's kind of like Christmas and your birthday. You're going to sit down and watch everything that happens.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be really super interesting, and I think that after pouring through a lot of those tapes and stuff from the debate and things like that, I'm thinking, again, the national people, Mamdani has benefited more from the national exposure as a novelty than I believe he has benefited from the local exposure. So the story we're seeing is of, this, again, socialist Pippi Longstocking marching through the streets with all these people behind him and, kind of, and yeah, I just don't. I think he's almost like he's like Kamala Harris. He's kind of like a made up candidate. I mean, it worked with Obama when they crafted kind of like a, shining star and that kind of thing. That was the first and last time I think that worked, where you created a candidate out of nothing, and made him president. So
they're candidates that are created by the media. They become what the media wants them to be. And yeah, you would think that a guy like Mamdani would give Barack Obama a thrill up his leg. I mean, he's everything that I think as starting out as a young community organizer, maybe that Barack Obama wanted to do as well. And so, but it's. I hope you're right about the young people. Maybe those who have grown up working in those places and watching their families, work as hard as they do to maintain those places. Let's hope you're right, and maybe they'll say, "Hey, socialism's not for me."
Well, especially when the design essentially is to take over your bodega, and turn it into a government-run bodega. And it's like there aren't many people, and those people know what that means there in New York. So it'll be interesting to see. I was interested too, because apparently this idiot Hasidic leader endorsed him, and that's just a guy trying to make a name for himself. They're not really a super relevant sect up there.
That's kind of another component of it too. I mean, you're talking about a city with the largest Jewish population, and here's a guy who won't stop saying talking about the Intifada. So I think it's also going to be interesting to see how the Jewish vote goes.
Well, they probably this Hasidic rabbi, they probably paid him a ton of money. There's no way that this was a prostitution move that just came out of his brain. It's hard to believe that would even be the case. So we'll see. It'll be very interesting. Are you looking at anything locally? I know there are a few races locally, but not a whole heck of a lot of them.
I haven't gotten to them today, but I do plan on getting to them. There were actually, I'm working on it, should be up this afternoon. There were some bomb threats in New Jersey that were called in this morning. They turned out to be nothing. They turned out to be a hoax. But earlier today, Mamdani was trying to blame Trump for it.
Were these bomb threats at polling places?
Bomb threats in New Jersey. Yes. Seven counties in New Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, and thankfully they turned out to be nothing, but yeah, Mamdani's trying to blame Trump for it.
Yeah. I mean, come on. I mean, has there ever been anything like that actually conservatives have done? I don't care whether it's the noose or the swastika or the N-word or the burning cross or the bomb threats or pipe bombs, whatever. It's always them. It's never us.
Right.
So
right.
Pretty much downline. All right. So what's happening this week at Red State or Substack, or what's your plan for the rest of the week?
Well, at Substack, probably I'm going to be talking about the elections. I'll just kind of give my impression of the elections, and like I said, I got something I'm just about finishing up here for Red State, and we've got everybody covering all the races and all the stuff going on. So yeah, I mean we're on top of it. That's most definitely.
All right, dear. Well, we'll see you there. And of course, Becky Noble right there on Substack, Gumshoe Politics. Correct? Have I got that right?
Yes.
Then look for her byline on Red State. And of course, she'll always post that up on Facebook or wherever it happens to be, or Twitter. And let you know what's going on. Well, Becky, thanks for the insight, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.
Thank you so much, Jamie.
All right, dear. That is the great Becky Noble, who is, Allison, thank you for that. She says, I love your positive attitude. You could be onto something. And, in the end, my description of what could happen and how this will go, it is if the world is operating normally. Like if the world is operating the way it should be operating, if the world is operating the way God intended. And whenever I think about God's intentions. God's intentions are always that people will do the practical and common sense thing. And I'm not saying God's going to call the election. That's not what I mean, but you know what I mean. I have faith in people. And it just kind of occurred to me over the last couple of days. I'm thinking, I wonder if we're not seeing exactly what is going on in New York. We'll see. I might be too optimistic, but just doing the calculations there. All right, people, this is Common Sense Radio. Oh, man, you should see Whoopi Goldberg. She went crazy when she was informed that she can't lie as easily as she used to be able to do on The View. Some 3 martini lunch. Get pounding, people. This is News Talk STL.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new News Talk STL app.
And listen anytime, anywhere.
Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros and Exteriors, your all-in-one service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. Christine and I discovered Gutter Pros and Exteriors when we bought our home and inherited a gutter problem. And they've also repaired siding damage on our home because along with gutter repair, gutter installation, and leaf protection, the Gutter Pros team are also the best for repairing other exterior damage, including fascia, soffit, and all siding repair and installation. Learn about all the ways Gutter Pros and Exteriors can help your home or business right now at gutterpros.com.
This is Larry Connors, and my favorite sandwich at Capriati's is a Philly cheesesteak with peppers, sweet peppers, but sometimes hot peppers. I love Capriati's, and so will you.
Open 9 to 9 daily on Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
Hey, Colombo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
Colombo and Company.
Tuesday is Election Day in New York and marks 5 weeks of the government shutdown, but Hakeem Jeffries and the Dems continue to dig in their heels. We'll get you the latest, plus Crane Durham from nothingbutTruth.com.
Live and local, weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Grew up in a town that is famous as a place of movie scenes. Noise is always loud, there are sirens all around, and the streets are mean.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
Anywhere, that's what they say.
Yeah, Allison, I think MTG is going to be on The View tomorrow. I think it's Wednesday. I'm going to see if I could get her on the show. She might have already taped it. We'll see. I'm going to see if I can hit up her friend Brian Glenn. She and him are a hot item in the. When I had him on the show a couple weeks ago, he and Marjorie Taylor Greene reposted the interview we did on her X account when I praised her, because I think she's a badass, and I'm really. And I don't care when she criticizes President Trump. You notice, like, everybody kind of leaves her alone because, you know, she'll have something to say. She's not often, but she'll have something to say. And it's like, they're kind of like, okay. They don't write her off either. So she's some serious business, and I really like her. So I like how she doesn't give a rip either about what anybody thinks. You know. Ashton, I like the version that she does with Jay-Z of this. You like that one? You heard that one?
Yes, I do like that one.
I didn't think I could play it because of there's some language or something in it. I couldn't find the for the one she does with Jay-Z is fantastic. I'll try to find a cleaner version before the end because it's a great song. And you know what? New York City is a great city. And I think a lot of us might be kind of forgetting that when we think that Mom Donnie's a shoe-in. So we'll see. A Mom Donnie voting for Mom Donnie New York is not a New York I would necessarily recognize. It's not like I'm a pro at it. And keep in mind also, don't forget that there are a lot of people who will also say that they're voting for Mom Donnie and won't. So there's a little bit of that too, because the way that Mom Donnie and the others have been trying to extort goodwill from voters, anybody who's kind of interviewed about, well, who are you going to vote for? They'll say Mom Donnie just so they don't get their head cut off in the middle of the street. So, keep that in mind too. So there's a lot of things at play here in terms of what we're seeing and what the reality is. And again, I don't want to mislead you. I don't want to be Pollyannish. I'm not trying to be, and again, I might be wrong, but I'm just telling you my instincts are moving in a direction away from him. But I don't know. Well, especially as we learn that the voter turnout is monster, which if you're Mom Donnie, you do not want a monster voter turnout. That means other people other than the people skipping behind you down the street are voting. So, I mean, at that point, it's kind of like your reality is starting to come forward, and there are not people. I think that there are a bunch of people probably in Brooklyn who are going to vote for him. There are some people in Soho and some areas. But I think if you go into some of the deeper ethnic areas in New York, they're not going for Mom Donnie. So we'll see. There's not a Chinese dude voting for Mom Donnie, I guarantee you. Guaranteed. There's not a Bosnian voting for him unless the Bosnian's Muslim, but even a Muslim Bosnian isn't that kind of Muslim guy. You know what I mean? And Italians aren't going to vote for him. They've seen the picture of him flipping off the statue of Christopher Columbus. The Hispanics who own bodegas aren't going to vote for him because they're going to have their bodegas seized by the government. So, his appeal is narrow. Oh, they love him in the newsrooms of CBS and ABC and CNN, but that doesn't mean all the New Yorkers love him. So I'm not going to beat this to death. You guys already know how I feel about this whole thing, but especially when I'm seeing the turnout being so heavy. And then, of course, it'll be interesting to find out which areas are the heavy turnout. And there's a chance we might not know before the night is done. So we'll see how it goes. All right, I got to get to Whoopi. She had a big time temper tantrum when she was told that she can no longer lie. So I can't wait to see how Marjorie Taylor Greene leaves all of them in a heap. This is going to be a fun week. And this is Common Sense Radio. Happy Tuesday to all of you and yours. It's the 3 Martini Lunch.
Tim Jones here for Comprehensive Chiropractic in Eureka, the premier chiropractic and sports performance facility in the region. They've helped me recover from day-to-day aches and pains for years. And here's something special, personal training programs. Whether you're an athlete committed to increasing performance, recovering from an injury, or just want to get healthier and lose weight, their personal training programs will help you reach your goals and stay there. Comprehensive Chiropractic in Eureka, online at cchiropractic.com. That's cchiropractic.com.
Elevate your brand's visibility with Fast Signs of Bridgeton, your local experts in visual solutions. From custom signs and banners to eye-catching graphics and displays, we bring your vision to life. Need indoor decor, outdoor signage, or vehicle wraps? Our team delivers quality and creativity on time, every time. Don't just make a statement, make an impression. Visit Fast Signs of Bridgeton, proud partner of the St. Louis Blues and preferred sign company of St. Louis University Athletics. Visit fastsigns.com.
Hi, I'm Mark Sutherland, founder of Stone Ledge Distillery, and I'd like to give you a bottle of Stolock whiskey or Inversion vodka. Enter now at stoneledgedistillery.com/win. Come experience our tasting room in historic Defiance. Enjoy Stolock whiskey, Inversion vodka, and other Missouri-made spirits, wine, and craft beer in our beautiful cocktail lounge, cigar room, or out on the patio with live music every weekend. Don't forget, win a bottle of Stolock or Inversion at stoneledgedistillery.com/win. Come raise a glass in Defiance.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Who's at Town Hall? I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Dick Cheney, who served as George W. Bush's vice president, has died from complications of pneumonia and cardiac and vascular disease.
Following the September 11th terrorist attacks, Cheney consistently defended the use of surveillance tools and detention, and he was a leading advocate for the invasion of Iraq. His conservatism and hard-charging style angered many Democrats, but years after leaving office, Cheney became a target of Donald Trump when his daughter, Congresswoman Liz Cheney, became the leading Republican critic of Trump's effort to overturn the 2020 presidential election.
That is White House correspondent Greg Cluxton. West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey says the government shutdown is a political move by the Democrat leader in the Senate.
Chuck Schumer is trying to get his base lit up. He's trying to get them out to vote. And even though we all know that this is the Schumer shutdown, the fact is that he's trying to leverage that into higher turnout for New Jersey and Virginia.
On this vote, the yeas are 54, the nays are 44.
On the Senate floor this afternoon.
Chosen and sworn in, not having voted in the affirmative, the motion is not agreed to.
And so for the 14th time, the Senate has failed to attain the super majority tally it would need to invoke cloture on the House continuing resolution. One of Tesla's biggest investors questioning Elon Musk's compensation package.
A package that could net Musk up to $1 trillion over a decade. There will be more than a dozen company proposals up for a vote Thursday during Tesla's annual meeting, but none has generated more controversy than Musk's potential pay package. The fund has a 1.16% stake, number 6 among institutional investors. Barron Capital Management, which holds about 0.4% of Tesla's outstanding shares, says it will vote in favor of the compensation package. Rich Thomason reporting.
More from townhall.com.
Hey, it's Mike Gallagher, host of the Mike Gallagher Show. I don't mess around when it comes to saving you money. Right now, rates have dropped to the lowest level in over a year and a half. That means if you bought your home or refinanced in the last 3 years, you could be saving hundreds of dollars every month. Lower your rate, lower your monthly payment, even kick that pesky PMI to the curb. And get this, you can skip 2 full months of mortgage payments. But that's not all. Fellowship Home Loans just rolled out something incredible. Their very own HELOC and lines of credit. Approval in just 5 minutes. Money in your account in as little as 4 days. It's the easiest system system you've ever used. You can do it yourself online. Whether you want to pay off bills, tackle a home project, cover education, or even a wedding, Fellowship Home Loans makes it simple to leverage the money that's already sitting in your house. Just go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, or call 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending guided by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Just another nearly perfect day with high temperatures near the 70-degree mark, probably into the lower 70s. Nice dry air. We do have some high, thin clouds overhead, but they don't amount to anything. And certainly no precipitation from that. Overnight lows tonight in the 50s, and again tomorrow a high near 70 with a little bit of a breeze in the afternoon that will shift from south today to northwest tomorrow. And we're still going to be mild on Thursday, but it looks like we have a chance of a few showers on Friday morning. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Want to work with a winner? Follow the multiplier. 279 times growth in total market cap in the past nearly 30 years. 50 times growth in client assets, and ranked the #1 wealth management firm for employee advisor satisfaction by J.D. Power 3 years in a row. Choose a winner. Choose Stifel, where success meets success. Stifel Nicholas & Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE. For J.D. Power 2025 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
St. Louis, it's here. The bigger than Black Friday at Renewal by Anderson. For a limited time, get the biggest dollars off savings of 2025. $330 off every window. $830 off every patio or entry door. Plus, you may have no payments and zero interest. Renewal by Anderson. Unprecedented winner of the prestigious J.D. Power Award for customers 6 years in a row. Renewal by Anderson. Full-service window and door replacement division of Anderson. A name you've trusted for more than 122 years. $330 off every window, $830 off every patio or entry door. Schedule your consultation today at rbastl.com or call 877-WINDOWS. 877-WINDOWS. Renewal by Anderson. Award-winning quality, bigger savings, smarter investment.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Live and local.
Listen to what the local folks are telling you.
News Talk STL.
Do I stress you out? My sweater is on backwards and inside out, and you say, how appropriate.
Yeah, you do stress me out, Alanis.
Don't dissect everything.
Now that you mention it.
Don't mean to pick you apart, you say, but I can't.
This was quite by accident because I ran across some things that I needed to plug into the show. And so the last thing I was thinking about was music. And then I figured I was near the A's, and I said, I'll just go ahead and hit the Alanis Morissette button there. But as I have said before, I think Alanis Morissette is good. I just always envision her standing in front of me, and she's got one hand behind her back, and it's a butcher knife. She's talking about something I did to her. That's not a guilty conscience or anything. It's just I'm internalizing it, you know. I do like her though. She's her music's pretty darn good. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, so in New Jersey, this is what you're getting with. First of all, there are 7 different bomb threats at polling places across New Jersey today. It is obviously common sense will tell you, and again, I don't know this for a fact, but the idea that this could be anybody associated with Republicans would be stupid because Republicans are quite possibly going to win this race and are not going to do anything to keep Republicans from winning this race. Yeah, it's a heavily blue state, but times have changed with President Trump around. And so we're kind of in a new frontier here. And New Jerseyites have matured way past the left-wing buffoonery of the previous governor and everything else. And so even if New Jersey did go for Trump as a state, sometimes it's not beyond the realm of possibility that they could actually have a governor that is Republican. It's a tight race. It's tighter than Democrats want it to be. And so the bomb threats are clearly designed to keep people from going to the polls, but mostly because they're afraid that the Republican is going to win. So the idea that somehow this could be anybody other than a Democrat or a liberal is absolutely beyond comprehension here. So that doesn't stop Mamdani from deciding he's going to blame President Trump for this. And this is an example of how Mamdani, you have to understand that Mamdani, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Kamala Harris. He's not particularly bright. And you can tell when he speaks that he's not particularly bright. And it's one of those situations where, like Kamala Harris, the news media kind of just propped these people up. So they filled in the blanks that would be the parts of their brain and made them into something that they're not. But the problem is, as it was with Kamala Harris, every time she opened her mouth, we all got a little dumber. That's just how it worked. Same goes for Mamdani. Nobody other than a left-wing crazy kook could possibly believe this.
Incredibly concerning. And I think that it is an illustration of the attacks we're seeing on our democracy. Sometimes they're blatant and explicit in the manner of these bomb threats. And we have to understand this as part of the general approach the Trump administration has taken to trying to intimidate voters with baseless allegations of voter fraud as a means of trying to repress the voice of Americans across this country.
I don't know if he's going to get that.
So this guy is an empty suit, and there would be no reason for President Trump to try and keep people away from the polls in New Jersey. Because we want as many voters in New Jersey to vote. You guys know what happens when you get more people voting, right? It was the essence and the key to President Trump's victory in 2024 would be more people voting, not fewer people voting. Same thing in 2016. So this idea that Republicans don't want as many people voting is completely antithetical to the reality that we have experienced thanks to so many people going to the polls in these 2 elections, and indeed even in 2020, which was stolen. But that's all. That was good. It worked out great for us anyway, in some ways. But the fact of the matter is, we want more people voting. That has traditionally helped conservatives, especially when they're the right kind of people voting. So I'll give you an example of that. In 2016, I'll never forget being on the radio the morning of that election And we had so many people who were calling into the show who said, my husband is voting for the first time in 20 years. I'm voting for the first time in 10. And the lines were hugely long. I'll never forget Infestus, for instance, as an example. And at that point, even as early as it was, based on the lines of people lining up to vote, I knew President Trump was going to win. And by about 1 o'clock, all the news media people, everybody else, I'll never forget, I was going through they're all quiet because they know that Hillary is toast. Same thing happened in 2024, where you had all kinds of people who otherwise normally didn't feel associated with any kind of party, whatever. Black people, Hispanic people, young people, all associating with President Trump. Young people generally are not really alive when it comes to voting for some reason. But this time they were. So the whole idea, this fantasy that somehow we don't want people to vote is completely ridiculous. It's the Democrats who don't want people to vote. Or if they can't keep us from voting, then they'll make sure that people who aren't eligible to vote, or they'll cheat. So it's the Democrats who cheat, not Republicans. During Obama's day, you remember when the Black Panthers guarded some of the polling places. You remember that? Yeah, wasn't us. So this whole idea, these guys are all projecting whatever, and so it doesn't make any sense, and we don't believe a word that they're saying. So we'll follow up on the bomb threats, but they're absolutely not anything associated with a Republican in any way, shape, or form. So speaking of the new frontier and why gradually it's going to be harder, it's already harder for Democrats to cheat. Now it's exponentially harder for Democrats to get their illegal alien friends to vote because we kind of caught them red-handed and they're off the rolls, and we've cleared a couple of million of them off the voter rolls across the country. And I mean, in Texas alone, it was 20,000, whatever. So they can't do that. They don't have control over the voting. They can't really cheat as much as they were able to do in 2020. Their mail-in boxes have basically disappeared in a lot of places, so those aren't there anymore, which is why they were able to steal the election in 2020. So, and they don't have a lock on the free flow of lies on their television shows and things like that. So they're really finding a very, very narrow path to longevity in this country as a political entity, because all of their options that normally were utilized to advance their cause in an inauthentic way are going away. So, again, can't cheat. Illegal aliens can't vote anymore, or a lot of them can't. And you can't lie on TV like you used to, because Trump will sue you and put on notice, to the point where, and that's not extortion, by the way, that's Trump suing you for lying about him and for manipulation and everything else. Anybody can sue, right? It's funny how, normally the Democrats have all been associated with the trial lawyers who sue people, the ambulance chasers, that kind of thing. I've never had a problem with trial lawyers and am against tort reform and judgment caps. But I mean, who are you kidding? Like, the most sue-happy party in the world. The trial lawyers give money to the Democrat Party, and now they're complaining about lawsuits. It's really rich. Anyway, it's worked, and you can tell because Whoopi Goldberg the other day, yesterday actually, she got a note because she had to correct something she said on The View, and she got a note from the lawyers. They get a lot of those on The View. I mean, they're still obviously lying. We had Barack Obama out there the other day talking about the good people on both sides lie. They just keep lying. Obama actually has become so ghetto. He's like back to his old clipboard days. I mean, the guy is so undignified, and I don't know what's going on with him. He's kind of, he looks like Grady from Sanford and Son, first of all, and he's out there just, lying his butt off. It's just so unbecoming. Anyway, here is it's so funny. They should actually, when Barack Obama comes out on stage, they should have like the theme song to Sanford and Son playing, and he comes walking out. Anyway, here's how it unfolded for Whoopi Goldberg, you see.
And that the other insane thing is that when people are going to go to their meetings with the judge, the meetings that they're supposed to go to, when they're listening to what the hell, what?
I love when Sonny passes notes.
We don't know if Trump used an auto pen to part. It was a joke.
Yes. We don't know if Trump used an auto pen to
Oh,
part,
come on.
but we do know that he didn't know who that crypto guy was.
Well, I'm sorry. The hardest thing about this job now
is I can't lie anymore. That's what she's saying here. It's so hard now to lie because I get notes from the lawyer.
Thing about this job now is no one understands nuance.
No one understands nuance. No, that's code for no one understands that the lies I'm trying to tell. Nuance my rear.
When you hear a joke, when somebody's fooling around, when they're not saying something specific, especially on this show. I'm very specific when I'm pointing stuff out. When I'm making jokes, when I'm making jokes. This is ridiculous.
No, we don't. And we don't. And that's what you guys have hid behind for a little while here. And I understand sometimes the lawyer thing can be a little oppressive for those of us who are spreading our creative wings sometimes. I get it. But the kind of regimented lies that have been going on just have got to stop. And President Trump has stopped them to a certain degree. By the way, I just saw a poll that looks like it's starting to possibly support some of what I've been saying this whole show about the fact that Mamdani's victory is not a foregone conclusion. Because we've all been hearing what number up until now for the lead, right? It's been, what is it, like 16 points still, or all that stuff? Isn't that right? We keep on hearing 16 points, 12 points, whatever. Well, I'm seeing a poll, and I don't know who did this poll, but this is quite a surprising one. And of course, polls, you never know what they're mean, or the veracity of them. But I see a poll that says Mamdani is at 43% and Cuomo is at 39%. So that is 43 minus 13, 4 points difference between those two. And Sliwa is polling at 14%. So that 14% that Sliwa has is a very formidable number, especially when it can go either way. And you'd assume that the 14% for Sliwa if at the tail end some of those people don't think Sliwa can win, their votes are not going to go to Mamdani. You're not going to get a Sliwa voter crossing over to Mamdani. There's a much better chance that you will get a Sliwa voter going over to Cuomo. And then at that point, if some of these Sliwa voters who are Republican voters decide they're going to break for it and say, I'm not going to vote, I'm just not going to throw away my vote, I'm going to vote for Cuomo, then Cuomo wins. If those poll numbers at 43 and 39 are to be believed. And so, but we don't know. But that's a separation of 4 points, which is, and I don't know what the margin of error is, but oftentimes the margin of error is 2 to 3 points. So it's a lot closer than you might think. And certainly my opinion is it's going to be a lot closer than people think it is. But then when you look at how this is going to go, and you look at how this is going, the Sliwa voters, if they, again, decide at the last minute to say, I love Curtis Sliwa, but I feel like if I vote for him, I'm handing it to Mamdani, then I'm going to go for Cuomo, and Cuomo will have enough at that point. I'm not saying I'm happy about either one of those scenarios necessarily, Mamdani or Cuomo, but I'm just saying as an observer, and what we're seeing right now is that I think a Mamdani win is not a foregone conclusion. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about. We're going to revisit COVID. Because Gretchen Whitmer goes on a podcast and I feel like she's opening up the floodgates of a reliving and, in fact, maybe even a re-prosecuting of the people who abused us during COVID. I got a great example of it here. This is Common Sense Radio. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL. The 3 Martini Lunch. Happy Tuesday, everybody.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
Clayton Sleep, ClaytonSleep.com. You know, it's interesting because there have been some adjustments I've had to make to some sleeping that I've been doing lately. And because it's been kind of restless, it just hasn't been calming. And I can see how people can get, with insomnia or kind of just, or whether or not you're in the vicinity of people who are snoring or whatever. So I kind of got to this point lately, and I've really had some wonderful sleep doing this, where I put in my headphones and I'm listening to this really quiet, very contemplative type of music. And I'm sleeping to it all night, and it really is nice, Now that's not always recommended. You're not going to just suddenly it's not always going to be recommended that you do that, because you're not going to listen to Uriah Heep on your, to get to sleep. But those are the kinds of patterns that Dr. Ojal will teach you, ways to relax your body, to prepare yourself for a good night's sleep, and that has wide-ranging effects on you if you have, for instance, insomnia, or if you have restless leg or arm syndrome which can really sometimes be debilitating because you're waking yourself up. You're just restless and you're not able to kind of get it going on. Sleep apnea is a different type of situation because sleep apnea is something where you need perhaps some super direct help, whether it's sometimes it is with the CPAP apparatus or a mouth guard or whatever. And then the other thing to do is you can go either way and go to these sleep clinics they have, and they're just like boutique hotels. You can spend the night there. Somebody monitors you all night long. They're very comfy, and then they'll go through it all with you. Or you can just have a consultation. He'll figure out whether or not sometimes you can just be helped through take-home stuff. And so that's the way to do it, too. Either way, better sleep, better life. That's what we're talking about with ClaytonSleep.com.
Looking for an underwater adventure or a scaly new friend? Dive into Tropical World Pets on Watson Road. For 32 years, this family-owned wonderland has been St. Louis's go-to destination for all things aquatic and reptilian. With over 7,000 square feet of aquariums, we're home to the area's largest selection of freshwater fish, including rare cichlids you won't find anywhere else. But that's not all. We've got tarantulas, snakes, and lizards galore. Tropical World Pets, 314-849-4020, or visit twpstl.com.
If you have a tree that you think is dead, it might not be dead. Why don't you try to save it first with Roots Plus? Roots Plus can help you save your tree and keep your cash. RootsPlusLLC.com. That's RootsPlusLLC.com or 314-440-3662.
Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor. Connor Roofing is now a two-time winner of the National Best of the Best Award for customer satisfaction for roofing, storm damage restoration, siding, gutters, both residential and commercial. Please visit ConnorRoofing.com for an estimate. And remember, you can count on Connor.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new News Talk STL app.
On my way to work in the morning.
Usually in the car.
I listen on the app in my car every morning going to work.
Download the News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here with you and Ashland over there. This is Common Sense Radio. I think I said that already. I don't know. So, New York is getting a little hectic. As I told you earlier, that poll is actually rather shocking because that's not the poll that we heard about before. We always heard, 16-point lead, 16-point lead, 16-point lead, 16-point lead. Then suddenly I'm seeing 43 Mamdani, 39 Cuomo, and 14 Sliwa. And monster voting numbers. I don't know whether that works out to be a sure win for Mamdani. Polls close at 8 o'clock our time. And if I am Mamdani, the idea of the polls going berserko does not bode well for my future. So he needs as narrow a voting turnout as he can get, and he's not getting it. So we'll see how that works out. And I think that a lot of your instincts are the same as mine, that towards the end, you know how people are when they make their decisions and things like that. They're like, all right, enough of this. They within over a period of like 48 hours, people are going, all right, no, enough of the fun and games here. We got to go to the polls and get this taken care of. And that's that. We'll see. Obviously, I could be wrong. And, but this socialistic commie, Pippi Longstocking media star is quite possibly in the end a paper tiger. So we will see. All right. So this is kind of jarring a lot of people because it's a Gretchen Whitmer interview that she did on a Michigan Forward podcast or something. And it was about the COVID restrictions because Michigan was really, really bad. And Becky, you're right. If Mamdani loses, he's not going away. If Mamdani loses, they will light New York City on fire. There will be riots. And, unfortunately, that necessarily won't be the fault of Mamdani as much as it is the fault of the news media that tricked people into believing that he was a shoo-in. And so they'll start burning everything up there. President Trump will have to call in the National Guard. We'll see. So anyway, Gretchen Whitmer is being interviewed, and Michigan was pretty strict about the COVID stuff. And this guy asks her, he's like, I don't really understand this idea of how you moved restaurants outdoors, but in a thing, like in a tent.
See, it's only going up. COVID took a little bit. Okay,
COVID
fair enough.
It was hard.
Yeah, it was a little. I'll be honest. I was a little annoyed when I came home for Christmas 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Like we had to eat outside, but we were inside pods outside. It was a little weird. Then I came back here and then I could just do whatever.
So it's a true thing. So I remember during COVID, so Ethan had come home for the holidays and we went to a restaurant in Clayton. And this was one of the restaurants that was abiding by the COVID restrictions. And so they had this big tent outside on the, on the patio there outside of the restaurant with heaters in it and everything else. And we were all literally, the tables were 6 inches apart. And I said to Ethan at the time, I was like, how is this different than being inside in a restaurant? In fact, it seems like it's even worse because we're in an enclosed tent, meaning there's no breeze at all. Like in a restaurant, you've got a wider place. You've got fans, exhaust fans, you've got things rolling. It's just it's a wider area. But we were in one of these, little party tents. And of course, these tents are made of that really strong vinyl. You know what I'm talking about with these little windows on them and stuff like that. I guess they're canvas or vinyl. So we're sitting in there, and then you have the damn heaters blowing and everything else, and literally we're stuffed in this place 6 inches apart from each other. It made no sense at all. And I'm trying to figure out how idiots like Crumbmouth Sam Page and others just didn't occur to them. And my feeling is it did occur to them, but they just basically ignored it.
Well,
that was a bit weird. I'll be honest.
Well, but remember what the temperature was. Here, you can walk around outside all day, right? At home,
but if I could
in Michigan in the winter, we're all inside breathing on each other.
But if I was allowed to be inside outside, why couldn't I just be inside?
Because you.
Yep, that's the point, right? When he said inside outside, which is exactly what we were here in St. Louis.
Couldn't I just be inside?
Because you were inside outside with just your small group of people.
And the servers and bussers.
Listen, Caleb, none of us wants to go back and relive that.
That's
we were
true,
doing the best
please.
we could with very little or very bad information.
Yeah. So that's not true, first of all. They were not doing their best. These were people, and I said at the time when all this happened, I said, these are individuals who are making decisions based on their lack of knowledge. And lack of knowledge became knowledge. I don't think I've ever seen that phenomenon in my life where the absence of knowledge actually then morphed into knowledge itself. And I know that sounds really convoluted and crazy, but if you think about it, when people came up with all these restrictions and things like that, and they were asked about them, they basically said, well, we don't know. So we have to take every precaution that we can. We have to take every precaution. It's like, well, that's not medicine. And I realized the COVID thing was new, but somebody knew about the way it operated. Maybe we should have asked the people who actually created it in the Wuhan lab, like one would create a robot, because they know how it acts. But I guess we didn't bother asking them. Fauci didn't, I guess. Could have asked Fauci. He knew about the robotically engineered. And I remember at the time, because you notice this virus wasn't killing kids. It wasn't killing dogs, cats. It wasn't even killing you and me. It was basically killing old sick people because they created this. So that because if the virus started killing kids, then there'd be hell to pay. Like at that point, you'd be going the way of the Nuremberg trials at that point. So they figured, let's just kind of engineer it so it just kills the weakest people among us, and then people will just assume that's the way it is. We can get all this stuff done in terms of lockdown, selling the vaccine, changing the way we have elections and all that kind of stuff. But if we start killing kids and pets and 20-year-olds, it's going to be really bad. Like then they're going to start looking for us. But if we just kill a bunch of people who, are expendable, and I'm not saying they are, but you know what I mean, then we'll be fine. But because they won't do any more snooping on what we're doing and what's going on. That's why. Because otherwise, a virus like that, a coronavirus normally would never be that exclusive in who it was affecting and who it was harming. It would never be that way. You'd have to design a virus to be exclusive, and they did. So anyway, this whole idea that we had to change our lives and do all this, because they didn't know anything. So it was the 6 feet, the 9 feet. You guys remember what was going on? I'll never forget when we had the you need to watch this disturbing video. And I'm like, that's not a video. That's a cartoon that you guys made. And the video was of a person running, which I was doing a lot of at the time, running, and how the aspiration from the person running would jump into the noses of the people possibly walking their dogs behind the person running. It was like, look at this. And it right up the nostrils. I'm like, well, you didn't know that that's happening. Watch this video. It'll scare you into taking your vaccines and everything else. And that's exactly what they did. But they called it a video. I'm like, no, that's not a video. That's a cartoon that you made up. I mean, that's just what it's all about. And they kept on coming up with all these fake things that I knew were fake to begin with. The building of the morgue. You guys remember that one? The Sam Page St. Louis County morgue. They decided to spend millions of dollars building a morgue And then they had the news media all tour the morgue. And then the news media dutifully went back to their news desk and said, "We've been to the morgue, and that's where you're going to wind up if you don't do this and wear a mask and have your vaccines and comply with all COVID restrictions." But that was the design, so they could menace everybody with the morgue, and the news media loved it. I mean, posted a big spread. Look at this morgue. This is where you're going to be if you don't obey the government. So they did. And it was, I'll never forget this one, too. It was Channel 4, which ultimately wound up laying people off because it ran out of advertiser money because it was telling people not to go outside. And you're a store, you're not advertising on a television station that is telling you not to go outside. It's kind of like, TV advertised people hate it when the broadcast outlets all say, don't leave your house unless you absolutely have to today. It's like, no. Don't tell me that, meteorologist. It's like, basically, we can figure this out ourselves, but don't tell my customers to stay inside. So I'll never forget, Channel 4 did this thing where it was a promo. And for the life of me, I still can't figure out why the TV stations all were part of this, but they kind of were. And they had a bunch of video of empty streets around St. Louis, like completely abandoned streets around St. Louis. And I'll never forget, they showed this. It was almost like dystopian. It was just like, wow, this is crazy. So they had a little line at the end of it. There's like all this really sad sad music, and St. Louis, you're winning. That was what it was about. I'm going, wow, that is crazy. All right, so I guess conservatives don't have anything better to do than just eat each other alive. I mean, we've got all this winning we're needing to do, and where everybody now is all bitching at each other over this Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson, blah, blah, blah. It's like, come on, people. The Heritage Foundation makes a great presentation about how it's like, don't sit here and come after us on this defense of Tucker Carlson interviewing Nick Fuentes. He made a good defense of it, and I completely agree and understand. But now it's a bunch of conservatives trying to cancel each other. Wow. I'll follow up on that, ladies and gents. This is Common Sense Radio. It's the 3 Martini Lunch.
What happens next?
So we are closing up Democrat programs, and they're never going to open again.
Happens right here.
Democrats appear perfectly happy to keep the political theater going.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Newstetter's Fine Jewelry. Yes, indeed. I could say Newstetter's Fine Jewelers too, because there are some fine jewelers there. They're actually jewelers at Newstetter's, as opposed to just people who are selling things over the counter or doing whatever. And the fact of the matter is, Richard Newstetter is a lifelong jeweler. He started when he was 17 years old at the world-famous Jacquard's Jewelry right there in downtown St. Louis, when these jewelry stores were always in these high-rise buildings and stuff. Really pretty cool. He was 17 years old. Now he's one of the few remaining master engravers in the country. And so that's pretty cool. That's if you want something engraved, something specialized, whatever it happens to be, you are absolutely right there. Diana Newstetter, she's an expert in especially kind of getting a feel for what the women like. And so she'll tell you as a guy when you walk in, like, what's hot these days? What was my wife like, or girlfriend like, or daughter, or whatever it happens to be. And she would tell you the stackers are pretty hot these days. And these are thin, beautiful, jewel-lined rings that you could stack on each other. Sometimes there are varying colors and things like that. All the same style in terms of being just a thin ring, but you could mix and match them and stack them and collect all 5. You know what I mean? It's just like you could give them as gifts on an ongoing basis, almost like a subscription if you want to create that. But they're great. Women love them, and women love how they are flexible in terms of fashion and everything else, and they can mix and match them. They also have, of course, all the gold you're going to find. Ladies, they have the beautiful Bulova watch, the Frank Sinatra line of the Bulova watch, which is outstanding. And, of course, they have the layaway program, which is great. As we head into Christmas, you can lay something away. And you also have the wish list, which is really very cool as well. And that's something you go in there and you say, I love this, write it down on a piece of paper, tell your lovely one that you have something on the wish list at Newsteaders. They go in and make life super easy for everybody. WowDiamonds.com, home of not only the mine diamonds, but also the lab-grown diamonds. And ladies and gentlemen, check it out on the web. It's Doherty Ferry in Big Bend, WowDiamonds.com.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli here with our great friend Chris Cooper from Serenity Wealth Management. Hi, Chris.
How are you, Vic?
I don't want to put anybody else down, but when you go up and visit you at Serenity Wealth, your place looks like home.
So a lot of financial advisory offices, they have, the big mahogany desk or the big marble entryways and things like that. The stock market channel on the TV when you walk in the door, right? That doesn't really drive a good conversation. Good financial guidance and advice starts with a good conversation. People are nervous. People are afraid to talk about finances, right? And so you can see a little standoffish. Well, my objective is to try to have a good, casual conversation. By having those conversations about life, goals, objectives, it's what makes me understand what our financials are supposed to fund.
So if somebody does want to have a good conversation, how do they do that? How do they find you?
Our website is the best way to do that because you can get all the information you need, understand where we are, get a little bit more information, all that. SerenityWealthNow.com.
Reach out to Chris and Stacy today at SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
On the next,
Larry Connors, USA.
Today's story behind the story, a burglary ring inside a police department.
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Baby, don't you wanna go? I'm going up the country, baby, don't you wanna
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. And Jamie Allman here and Ashton over there. Happy Tuesday to all of you. Phil Powers says, how about everybody going one way down the aisles at the grocery stores that were allowed to stay open? Yeah, all the arrows and all that idiocy. I just love the people who always, they had that little scoop that you had to put on your hands. The sterilization goop. And everybody's, no matter what, everybody would go to the elevator. It's like everybody had to start spraying this disgusting stuff all over their hands. Made their kids do it too, ruin their kids' immunological health for the next decade. Hey, by the way, you think I'm getting old and crotchety, and is it my imagination, or do people, when they're in the grocery store, what what is your hurry? Like, why are you going so fast down the aisles to the point where if you're walking down the main aisle where the other aisles are, I don't know how many times I was literally almost run over at the Deerbergs I go to because of these guys who come blasting out of the lane, literally going like 30 miles an hour pushing their carts. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? I don't know. I just, it's like, you do realize like there are other people in the store. I don't know. I might be just, like I said, probably just getting old and crotchety, but I don't understand that phenomenon that is happening here. All right, really quickly here, because we're about to end the show, but I got to deal with this. So there's this big, because apparently conservatives just don't have enough to bitch at each other about. All of the commentariat in the conservative realm are all kind of like clutching their pearls over the Tucker Carlson interview with Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes is a known commodity. He's a self-described anti-Semite. He can be described as being old-fashioned or misogynistic, whatever you want to call him. But the fact of the matter is, people listen to him. My son, Aiden, used to, but doesn't anymore, because he was turned off by a bunch of things that he said. But that doesn't mean if you interview him, you are a heretic and deserve to be canceled. And that doesn't mean if you defend the person who interviewed him, that you too are a heretic and you deserve to be canceled. And that's what's going on now. I mean, of course, Ben Shapiro comes out of the woodwork, as he always does, to bitch and moan about something. And this guy, Kevin Roberts, with the Heritage Foundation, I have a ton of respect for the Heritage Foundation. And he's and what happened is he defended Tucker Carlson, saying, "Hey, it's okay he did this interview. I mean, I think that let's just we're a free flow of ideas and everything else. Let's not, ban people or do this." And so now apparently people at Heritage are not all, but there are some people leaving in a huff over his defense. And I'm glad to see Kevin Roberts has decided, well, I'm not going to apologize for this. And this is what he had to say, which I thought we need to be able to take right to the bank.
I'll have more to say on this in the coming days. But today I want to be clear about one thing. Christians can critique the state of Israel without being anti-Semitic. And of course, anti-Semitism should be condemned. My loyalty as a Christian and as an American is to Christ first and to America always. When it serves the interests of the United States to cooperate with Israel and other allies, we should do so with partnerships on security, intelligence, and technology. But when it doesn't, conservatives should feel no obligation to reflexively support any foreign government, no matter how loud the pressure becomes from the globalist class or from their mouthpieces in Washington. The Heritage Foundation didn't become the intellectual backbone of the conservative movement by canceling our own people or policing the consciences of Christians.
So, and I probably need to give a little more context, although you might be aware of it. But during that interview, there was plenty of criticism of Israel from Fuentes and Tucker Carlson. And so that's the outgrowth of this. But he makes an excellent point.
And we won't start doing that now. We don't take direction from comments on X, though we are grateful for the robust free speech debate. We also don't take direction from members or donors, though we are inherently grateful for their support. And we're adding more every day. This is the robust debate we invite with our colleagues, our movement friends, our members, and the American public. We will always defend truth. We will always defend America, and we will always defend our friends against the slander of bad actors who serve someone else's agenda. That includes Tucker Carlson, who remains, and as I have said before, always will be a close friend of the Heritage Foundation. The venomous coalition attacking him are sowing division. Their attempt to cancel him will fail. Most importantly, the American people expect us to be focusing on our political adversaries on the left, not attacking our friends on the right.
Yeah, I mean, it's that simple. And so Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro and all these guys calling for Carlson's head. I mean, come on. And now they're calling for Kevin Roberts' head at the Heritage Foundation. We've got some bigger fish to fry here, I think. Anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Ashlyn, thank you so much. Tony Colombo and Company on the way. This is Common Sense Radio on News Talk STL.
Why has Steph's Pizza become the place to go for St. Louis-style pizza, appetizers, salads, and pastas? One taste and you'll know. Dine in, pick up, delivery, even DoorDash. Locally owned and operated with legendary pizza and a new location in Lake St. Louis at 111 Palm Fort Trail. In St. Peters, St. Charles, and the original Stephanitas in O'Fallon.